Let's get into this. For all you late night people, even if there's 2 people, 1 people, I'll do it live. We're late night streamers if we have to be. We love to stream live. Me and Johnny are here. So let's talk about Epstein and Richardson. That's the big thing right now. In light of what happened in the New Mexico estate, what we found out what's going on, we have some new breaking news. But let's go over the rules. I want to go over some rules real quick, and I'll remind us of the rules of the video I made, what our responsibilities are. So number 1, our responsibilities are to understand and accept the pace. Number 2, act as the guard dog and not the lap dog. And number 3, look at all the information objectively. So really just to start on number 1, I always say we have to have a good pace. People be patient when it comes to this. We just can't unload all this information about what's going on, the tentacles of the octopus, of the Epstein octopus, and how far it reaches up. So, that being said, understanding the pace is very, very important. Where was I at? Okay, yes, I was going to say that even myself would say right now, within light of this information, the pace needs to be picked up. That we're getting too much in the dark. We're getting too much slowed back down. And we're not staying on pace. I think the mainstream media is trying to kind of like... squash it a little bit. We don't know who's on top. We don't know who's kind of controlling this thing. So that being said, we have to respect the pace, but we have to pick up the pace now because there's some new information coming to light. Number 2, we have to act as the guard dog and not the lap dog. We have to watch out and light what's going on. We have to keep an eye, and I think that they're slowing down on the mainstream media, so we have to put some videos out there. And number 3, we look at that information objectively. But there's also a video I want to play for you real quick of what happened the other day. Graham Elwood had a video, and he had a person on who was a detective who had actually worked on some case. So take a look, because to me, this said a lot. I have a hard time even saying that Epstein dealt with young women. I want to say little girls, because I think language is important. So let's take a look at this information, and we'll go over it when it's done.
I want to talk, too, about there's more information coming out now about... Ghislaine Maxwell, she was the madam that was, now there's several women have said she was recruiting women, and also she sexually abused.
See, again, it's terminology. She wasn't recruiting anybody. She's grooming. She is grooming children. You don't recruit kids, you groom them. You manipulate them over a course of time, and you basically trick them because they're children. You trick them over a long term, basically it's a long con, but at the end of this con, a child gets brutalized, okay? So that's what they're doing. Again, it's words. She's not recruiting anybody. The media needs to call it what it is. She was grooming these children. You were grooming. How do you convince a 13-year-old to have sex with a 50-year-old man? You manipulate them. You can't find me a 13-year-old in the world that would ever want to do that. They're grooming the children, not recruiting, grooming. And it's what pedophiles do, and it's what horrible people do.
Okay, so you see the language, what he says. It's very important. She's not recruiting a person. She's grooming. And it's a mental mindset, really. You're grooming the teacher. You're programming. You could say programming or grooming, whatever one. But language is important, not for just mainstream journalists or independent journalists, but for people around the dinner table when you're talking about this. We have to really... humanize these children and the abuse they took. Like I said, me personally, I think a lot in the downtime I have to look to speak to some victims, because I think it's important that you guys hear from these victims and how bad they were programmed and groomed to do horrible things. And there's some new information of what possibly took place on the Epstein Ranch. There's a report in the New York Times that says on the New Mexican ranch, that Epstein was attempting something called transhumanism. Literally, transhumanism. He hoped to seed his human race with his DNA. Now, Johnny, you pulled up a definition of transhumanism, haven't you?
That's right.
So, give it to us, Tsunami.
Let's see. So transhumanism, the belief or theory that the human race can evolve beyond its current physical and mental limitations, especially by means of science and technology. Yeah, that's interesting.
But this is the part, Johnny, when I'm talking about, like, we have to start picking up the pace as far as information. I think a lot of people just think that these kids were taken to the ranch or taken to Epstein Island or taken to his Manhattan apartment just for sexual activity.
Yeah, I don't think Epstein was trying to. I think they used transhumanism like. I don't. That's so.
It's weird. It's creepy because the thing is that there are reports and details, and we're going to pick up the pace here right now. It's more than just sex with the kids, with the children. Remember, he was a science philanthropist, a scientist of sorts. He's given money to different branches of science, different research groups and whatnot. So there are theories out there that it's more than just using the kids for sexual favors or sexual abuse, whatnot, and to blackmail powerful people. There's also thoughts and talks of mind control and programming in a certain way. And that's when you see these transhumanism reports come up, they make you think twice about what's really going on. I'm not going to dive deep into that rabbit hole. To me, I really wanted to talk about also what was said, too, at that dinner. Let's talk about what was going on at the Epstein Ranch, because he wanted to literally keep 20 ladies pregnant at one time. Check out what it said right here in this article right here. Once at a dinner at Mr. Epstein's mansion in Manhattan's Upper East Side, Mr. Lanyard said he talked to a scientist who told him that Mr. Epstein's goal was to have 20 women at a time impregnated at his 33,000 square foot Zorro Ranch in a tiny town outside of Santa Fe. Mr. Lanyard said the scientist identified herself as working at NASA, but he did not remember her name. So, as you can see, Johnny Sue, there's more than just, taking girls in and sex. He's impregnating them. He's trying to do something with the DNA. There's science taking place, you know what I'm saying? I'm starting to think that these children were used for more than just sex. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, there's some weird shit going on. Why? I get it's like Genghis Khan. It's like some Genghis Khan stuff,
Shit.
you know.
It is.
I'm trying not to curse anymore, but
Me too. It's the Twitch line. We got to be careful on the Twitch time. But it made me think. We looked up the New York mansion, and that belonged to Maple Inc. So I started thinking, what company or who gifted the house in New Mexico to Jeffrey Epstein, and that company's name was Cypress Inc. And it just seems to me that Epstein likes to name his companies after trees, and it's great. It's more symbolism we got to deal with now. He's naming his companies after trees. There's Babylon tiles on their land.
Where did it say it was owned by Cypress Inc.?
I looked it up. If you look at those papers in this article, we pulled up this great article right here. It's in that article. In the beginning, guys, ladies and gentlemen, going to get a chance, look at the State of the Globe article. There's so much great information here about that ranch. But there's some papers, if you go down, that were signed, that it shows, if you keep going down, they're actual papers they got a hold of that say Cypress on them. Right there, around there.
Yeah. Yeah, Zorro
Ranch. Cypress Inc. More trees, more
there
symbolism.
It is. Cypress Inc.
Right
Port
there.
of Sale.
So I started thinking about Cypress Inc.
Zorro Ranch.
This article, too, is great, too. You got to go into it. It even says on this article right over here that Jeffrey Epstein purchased the New Mexico Ranch from Governor Bruce King in 1993. And that is the year that Bill Clinton became president. Jim Baca was brought in by Bill Clinton and Bill Richardson and worked with Clinton on the NAFTA passage, both of which received thousands in campaign contributions from Epstein. And also, Johnny, the next thing we pulled in out is if you can read that one, who else did Epstein give money to?
In addition to Epstein giving over $50,000 in campaign funds to former Attorney General Gary King, the King's family's land surrounds Zorro Ranch on all sides, and their political and defense connections go all the way up to ballistic missiles.
So we talk about the Kings, the relationship with the Richardsons, and all the property there. I think there's a map. The one map we talked that has the writing real quick. And yeah, this one right here. Look, and if you just look at it.
Jeffrey Epstein, Zorro Ranch in Stanley, New Mexico.
And it's surrounded by a lot of the King property. Billy King
There's the
and
ranch.
SLK Properties.
Billy
Bill
King.
King, Gary King,
Sam
Bill
L.
King. There's Sam L. King. There's the King family, the
Barry
Pine
King.
Canyon Ranch Incorporated. The Kings are surrounding Jeffrey Epstein. And I think in this article they point out that there were two planes in one of the King's property that possibly could have been used by Jeffrey Epstein. So with the connections with the Kings and Jeffrey Epstein being that they sold it to him and they've given the family a lot of money, it just got me thinking about King and my good old friend, Mr. Richardson, the governor. So I started looking a little bit more about Bill Richardson because I feel he's not being questioned enough here. And if we can look about in the Hive, Vanity Fair, and I love it when mainstream media makes an article and puts it out there about some of the people that they actually work for. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what this whole thing is like. We have to stay on top of this case right now because who upstairs? Do you think that the most powerful people on this planet are going to allow these people in these mainstream medias to just write all these articles defaming people like Bill Richardson and Bruce King and the Clintons? They're not gonna. They're going to pull the leash back. It's only when we demand more will we get more. And take a look what it says in this article over here because, like I said, Bill Richardson, and this is what the red light made me think about. It says Epstein 7,000-acre Zorro Ranch in New Mexico. Okay, Epstein donated $50,000 to Richardson's 2002 and 2006 gubernatorial campaigns. Richardson rejected the 2006 donation to charity when the allegations against Epstein first arose. Okay, so that made me start. That's red lights because it's $50,000 each time. You know what I'm saying? He's not just going to give money money unless it's somebody he's well connected with. And he did business. Epstein funded a lot of these guys when it came to NAFTA. Bill Clinton and Richardson were tight buddies. Bruce King, the whole 9 yards, New Mexico through and through. And another damning piece of evidence that made me say we have to look more at Bill Richardson is in the Black Book. In the Black Book that was stolen by Epstein's butler and then eventually tried to sell and was caught and was released, public knowledge. You can see right here, Bill Richardson is right next to Bruce King in that book.
Whoa.
Right next to each other. And most of that book, Johnny, is alphabetical order. There's only a certain times when a couple names are attached to each other.
That's interesting.
So we know that Bill Richardson is not a superdelegate
and there's
anymore.
Rhonda King there, too. Rhonda King Realty.
Yeah, well, that's...
Who works in Stanley, New Mexico.
And look what's right below it.
Massage,
exactly.
New Mexico. Wow.
All the massages and the massage places in New Mexico.
That is
all
weird.
The people... You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, Rhonda King's there. The Kings surround the whole thing. He's like got so much protection. And that's the thing. We have to also get onto the King's properties now and do some investigating over there. Do some good detective work. Because there's a lot of stuff that might be there. This guy, you know, was so passé about things. He really didn't cover a lot of things up. And Richardson's not a superdelegate, but Bill Clinton is. And I just want to put this out there. Isn't it time that we maybe... ask Tom Perez to pull Bill Clinton's superdelegate credentials? What do you think, ladies and gentlemen? Call up Tom Perez, tell him, pull Bill Clinton's superdelegate credentials because of the Epstein case. So, you got anything to add to that, Johnny? I just want to kind of connect those dots. I want to let people kind of go into themselves. But that's what's going on with Epstein right now. And
I wonder how the Kings got their money, is what I'm curious about.
Well, it's all deep-seated elitist, man, for years. These are the owners. They own you. And these are the connections that Bill Clinton used in New Mexico. And set up shop there, and some crazy stuff is going on, and it's time to go into that rabbit hole. It's time to start picking up the pace now. It's time to start talking about the other things that possibly could have been going on other than sexual mishaps or sexual abuse. Maybe there was some form of programming, DNA changing. There's a lot of scientists. Maybe he was working for the CIA and showing him that they can, do mind control experiments or whatever. I don't know. There's a lot more information to this. And that's what anytime you pick up an Epstein case, you look into a rabbit hole, it goes down deep. And you can just get lost in it. So I just want to leave that one there and kind of put that on the surface.
Oh, yeah, let's take a look on Google Maps, Zorro Ranch.
You love this stuff. Look,
yeah.
He goes into Google Maps. Says, Johnny's off the reservation.
There we go.
Let's get in there, Johnny. Here we go. Let's get it. Whoop. He's got a landing strip over there.
Where's the landing strip?
Right there's the landing strip.
Right here.
Yep.
That's insane.
Huge. He wanted to keep 20 women impregnated. 20 girls. 20 girls impregnated at all time. This is what we call a grooming factory, a grooming ranch. A programming
I don't
factory. A programming.
That's
ranch.
speculation. If anything happened here, maybe he was doing some other type of business here. I don't know what the heck was going on here.
Well, more people keep coming forward. We have like 4 victims now who have come forward in New Mexico alone. So we'll have to see more if the New York Times is writing about it, though. I'm glad that people will look into it now since they don't believe in independent media. Maybe they'll believe the New York Times.
Yeah, right.
Crazy stuff. Plays tennis, Mr. Epstein. Or is that basketball?
Could be basketball.
Could be basketball. We don't know. We don't know what's going on. A lot of crazy business. We'll find out more, but let's pay attention to the people involved. Okay, let's go with some other quick Epstein headlines. We're not going to go really deep into the story. We want to point out a couple of them. The first one coming from the Washington Times. A lawmaker was told, and look at this one. If you don't think that people are still involved, if you don't think that elites are still scared, this thing is going to release more information, and more people are going to be whistleblown on than ever before. A lawmaker who asked for Epstein probe is threatened. Little girl, you better stop. And this particular lawmaker, she was looking into Jeffrey Epstein's work release program in South Florida. And she wanted to probe to what was going on, how he was able to be released for 12 hours a day, hardly check in, and was able to abuse even more women in his West Palm Beach apartment, and how he was able to get that special treatment. And she was told, little girl, threatening, mind your business, go about your way, stop asking questions. So there's still a lot of pressure from upstairs, and you could just look at a lot of people who do Epstein videos. We're not monetized on YouTube yet because they're still messing with us. But a lot of people who do Epstein videos, they're demonetized. Why? The elites above want this to go away. So expect more distractions, more events. Expect the mainstream media to be pushing more events. And the last headline, Johnny. I know you want to read this one. This made you happy. Go ahead, Johnny.
Inside the mysterious Manhattan apartment building on East 66th Street, where underage models, lawyers, and key players in Jeffrey Epstein's sex trafficking circle all live. Ex-Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak is a frequent visitor.
Ehud Barak, a frequent visitor. That's the ex-Prime Minister, fam.
Is it?
That's the ex-Prime Minister of Israel.
Oh, jeez.
But I don't want to get too much into this because I don't want to be called anti-Semitic and I don't want to be poked at, but I'll leave it at that because, this case goes deep and he was a frequent visitor. We have several witnesses talking about it, and that's another head of state. It's under Bill Clinton. I know you people like Donald Trump. I don't know if Netanyahu was on that plane yet, but we'll find out more as we go along. But Ehud Barak, a regular visitor, and there were a lot of models kept there, so something to look at.
So even this Business Insider article says it hasn't been all private islands, 7,000-acre ranches for Epstein. And then they go into their article of how New Mexico authorities are focusing on Jeffrey Epstein's Santa Fe ranch. Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we didn't even show this picture.
Oh, yeah, to see the sundial over there. More symbolism that you got to get into. So that's what we want to talk about as we go along and keep on that. But let's start looking into, let's open up the doors, ladies and gentlemen. Let's start looking into a little bit more other than sexual abuse and using these women for sex. These are certain things to look into. We talked about a lot of money that Jeffrey Epstein has donated to science, and it could be a very strong possibility that there were other types of testings, programming, and grooming going on. And we're just thinking about grooming in other ways, not just sex. Thank you very much for watching Twitching Out Late Night. Facebook, Angelica Duenes, we love you if you're still there. Hope I said your name right. Probably not, but thank you so much for all the Facebook, Twitter, Twitch people. We have Convo Couch YouTube as well. We want to thank you for watching. Please like, share, subscribe. For Pasta Jardula, Johnny Tsunami. You got anything else, my man?
Nope.
Convo out.
Peace.